It's a busy morning around the NFL as several players are getting cut, and the Chicago Bears have cut a few more players themselves. We'll break that down here on Chicago Bears Now. My name is Harrison Graham. Also, we talked about this last week. I thought this could pop up, and it has. The Houston Texans are reportedly shopping Cam Robinson at left tackle. Could the Bears get involved? Za'Darius Smith, we have an update on him. Could the Bears sign him? And then I kind of just revisit some surprise cut candidates at the end of the video, some guys on the bubble that could get cut between now and 3 o'clock today. Speaking of which, we are going to be live for the Bears 53-man roster reveal. We will be live at least by 2:30. Could go live a little bit earlier depending on what's happening, and, you know, we got to get some things in order. But with the roster revealing at 3 or shortly after, we will be live at least at 2:30, maybe a little earlier. We'll chop it up, have some fun, hang out with you guys in the chat. So if you guys want to come hang out, we will be here. Okay, let's get to the latest cuts first. The Bears have cut 4 more players this morning as they continue to trim down toward 53. And if I'm looking down every once in a while, I'm keeping an eye on Twitter, making sure nothing new pops. But these are the new cuts this morning. Ricky Stromberg, who could return to the practice squad as kind of a P-squad center option. We'll keep an eye on him, and obviously Doug Kramer's status, who as of now has not been cut. J.P. Richardson, more on him in a second. Luke Elkin, the UDFA rookie long snapper. And then Tanoh Kpassanon, kind of the first, at least relative surprise cut. I had him on my 53. I thought he would make it. He could be back. More on him right now, as Biggs mentions that with the familiarity with Dennis Allen, he says strong chance he'd be on the practice squad and could be on a game day roster soon. I kind of connecting some dots there. Could Austin Booker go to short-term IR and Kpassanon's a game day elevation the first few weeks of the season? Or if they have more than 2 guys they need to put on short-term IR, remember you only have 2 slots for that. Kpassanon's a vested veteran, so he's not subject to waivers. So let's say they preserve 2 guys by putting them on short-term IR, just hypothetically. Roschon Johnson, Austin Booker. Don't know if that's who it's going to be. But if they need a 3rd guy, well, after waivers tomorrow, they could then put that player on short-term IR as well, and then elevate Tanoh Kpassanon, re-sign him to the 53. So I do think he'll likely be in the mix, but for now, he has been cut. Biggs also noted that J.P. Richardson is a strong candidate to be re-signed to the practice squad. I would like to see him back. He's got return ability, flashed early on in camp, has some route running skills as a slot receiver that you like, but as camp went on, other guys kind of elevated, and he just fell behind a crowded wide receiver room, but we'll see if he is back in the fold. And with Luke Elkin getting cut, we assumed Scott Daly was going to remain as the long snapper, but that is now official as he is the guy. So there you go on that one. Just to rehash, this is where things sit right now. 22 cuts so far, a little rapid fire. Samori Torrey, Royce Freeman, Chris Glazer, Caleb Hayes, Mark Perry, Mekhi Garner, Millard Bradford, Xavier Carlton, Jeremiah Walker, Swayze Bozeman, Thomas Gordon, Joel Wilson, Austin Reed, Ian Wheeler, Alex Cook, Power Eccles, Trey Flowers, Joshua Miles, Ricky Stromberg, and J.P. Richardson. And then these 3 players, Elkin and Kpassanon, mentioned down there as well. That's 22. And then these 3 guys have been placed on season-ending IR: Terrell Smith, Sean Wade, and Deion Hankins. And then Zay Frazier placed on the reserve NFI list, meaning he will be out for at least the first 6 weeks of the season. If my math is correct, I think we're down to 66 players. Technically 67 because Jalen Johnson is still on the NFI list, which he was placed on before training camp. But assuming he gets activated, which I would say that is 99.9% chance, then you're at 66, meaning 13 more cuts / roster moves. They could trade Jordan McFadden, whatever, to get down to 53 is where you sit. So they're more than halfway home. They practice at 1 o'clock today. I would imagine they want to get as close to 53 before that practice, but some of those guys might stick around through that practice before cuts come in at 3 o'clock. All right, predict a surprise Bears cut. I'm going to revisit some surprise candidates later in the video, but Kpassanon is kind of the first soft surprise. Not a major surprise, but a soft one. Drop a name down in the comments below of this video. Okay, Cam Robinson. We talked about this last week because there was a report that Ariante Ursary had emerged and could be that team starting left tackle. And now that is basically confirmed. The Texans haven't named him the starting left tackle, but it was reported this morning that they're taking trade calls on Robinson. And before we get into this, can I just say, and I'm not a big pat myself on the back guy, I think you guys know that, but how many times did I mock Ursery to the Bears last spring and even back in the fall? What, producer Colin, 10 times? Just saying, I fucking love the guy. And look, they traded down from 41 after taking Burden at 39, and essentially they got Ozzie Trapillo and Shamar Turner instead of just Ariante Ursery, if you want to play it like that. It's like, okay, we'll see. If you told me right now Ursery was an above-average left tackle, or you could have Ozzie Trapillo, who's your backup right tackle, and Shamar Turner, who's barely even practiced, probably take Ursery. Just saying. I don't know. We'll see how that ages. We haven't even played a game yet, but that's neither here nor there for now. Cam Robinson, let's visit this now. Field Yates has the note, and we mentioned this as well, that you'd only have to pay him $3.75 million maximum if you trade for him. So the cap hit would be low, the salary would be low because they already paid the big signing bonus when they signed him. So any team trading for him would be off the hook for major money for Cam Robinson, who's not a perfect player. He's a flawed left tackle, but he's above average in pass pro. He's not great in the run game, but what has Ben Johnson said? We want our tackles to be able to block one-on-one on an island. I think he's a better pass protector than Braxton Jones, probably a worse run blocker. So that's kind of the battle you have to fight there. Aaron Wilson, who is based out of Houston, covers the NFL and the Texans closely specifically, said nothing imminent, but there has been interest from NFL teams. Fluid situation. He did mention the Falcons as a potential fit because they've had some tackle injuries recently. Like I mentioned last week, I'm interested. If the price is right and if the Bears feel like he can fit this scheme well and obviously be an upgrade. To me, you only make this move if it's like, hey, he's our starting left tackle. I would not bring him in to like throw him into the mix because we've already done this with 4 guys, and it hasn't really led anywhere. So to me, this would be like, hey, we're just upgrading. So that's question number 1. Is he an upgrade from Braxton Jones? If he is, I would be interested. If the price is right, which is number 2, how much does a trade cost? Well, if you remember, he was traded in the middle of the season last year from the Jags to the Vikings, so I revisited that. Cam Robinson and a conditional 7th to Minnesota for a conditional 5th. So, pretty reasonable trade. Now, that was in the middle of the year, I get it, but Minnesota was also kind of desperate because they lost Christian Darrisaw in the middle of this huge season they were having, and they still didn't have to give up that much. So, to me, highest I'd go is a 5th-round pick. I would do this. I like Cam Robinson. I think he is, when you add it all up, probably an upgrade from what you currently have. Now, if Braxton Jones got to absolute peak form of what we see in him, maybe you could argue overall with his ability in the run game, you'd rather just keep that. But we haven't seen Pete Braxton. Is he going to be Pete Braxton week 1? I don't know. I do think Robinson's a better pass protector. So, 5th-round pick. If they want to take Jordan McFadden, too, for some guard depth, throw him in the trade, that's fine. I'm not going to 4 or higher, but I'm interested if the price is right. It would not cost that much from a salary standpoint. Should the Bears trade for Cam Robinson? Want to hear from you guys down in the comment section below. Type Y for yes, type in for no. You guys know where I stand. I want to hear from you. Okay, today's show is sponsored by PrizePicks, the best daily fantasy sports app where millions of people are playing on a daily basis in North America. Is PrizePicks. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS to get started today. Football is back as the opening weekend of college football is here, and the big fellas will be playing soon. In just over a week, they get going. It's very easy to play PrizePicks as you just pick more or less on stat projections on 2 to 6 player lineups. If you get your lineup right, you can win up to 2,000 times your money. Quick math, $10 for 20,000 on certain lineups if you hit. All eyes are on Texas, Ohio State this weekend. I like Arch Manning to rush for a touchdown in this game, so I'm going to take more on half a rushing or receiving touchdown for Arch. That's a demon pick, which are tougher to hit, so it boosts the potential payout. And then I paired that with Garrett Nussmeier less than 279.5 passing yards. That's a high number against a very good Clemson team for the LSU quarterback. $20 entry to win 90. Again, you can go up to 6-player lineups if you choose to do so. Download the PrizePicks app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, run your game. Link and promo code in the comments and description to get started today. Okay, Za'Darius Smith. A lot of news flying in today, folks. Wanted to get you guys caught up on all of it. A report from Jeremy Fowler that multiple contending teams have checked in on the veteran pass rusher. Here's what he said specifically, that he is a name to watch. Smith, of course, had 9 sacks last year. Multiple contending teams have checked in on Smith, who is training and waiting on the right situation. So are the Bears a team that have checked in? Do they fit that contending teams label that Jeremy Fowler has mentioned? I don't really know. I hope they've checked in. I mean, I would sign him in a heartbeat. I've been saying it for months. I don't think this pass rush is good enough. And if anything, now that training camp and the preseason has come and gone, I feel worse about this pass rush at this point. Did we say Dayo Adengbo's name at all in camp? Seriously. Like, I'm not trying to be, a hard ass here, but like they gave this guy $48 million, 32 guaranteed, and I'm not sure we said 55's name once. That's concerning. Montez Sweat flashed early in camp. Sounded like it was going well in the last preseason game. You know how many pressures him and Dayo Adengbo had, and they played 3 drives each? That would be 0. That is a concern, to say the least. Austin Booker's now injured. Daniel Hardy is fine, but he's like a 4th or 5th edge. They cut Kpassanon, who's a veteran. Dominic Robinson, I'm concerned. I just am. Like, I don't even feel great about the starters at this point. Like, I've said it all offseason. Well, you're screwed if Montez goes down. Well, he hasn't even shown much. So I would add somebody. I would add Za'Darius Smith. Give him $6-8 million and let's go, because you're going to have to blitz probably more than you want to at this point if you're going to generate pressure if you're Dennis Allen. And we know he likes to blitz, and that's a good thing, but it's, you don't want to feel like you have to blitz, if that makes sense. So I'm concerned. I would bring in Za'Darius. Should the Bears sign him? S for sign, P for pass. Again, I would do it, and I'm not trying to be like every guy that comes available, I'd bring him in, but have you seen this pass rush? Kind of sucks. It kind of sucks. So, yeah, I'd be on the horn for Za'Darius Smith. Okay, let's visit some surprise cut candidates. Just 5 guys here we'll rip off, and then we'll take a look at 3 more in a minute. Karana Magaji, right there on the bubble. I projected him on the 53. Eamon Ogbongbemiga, I was told by a source that the Bears could be interested in linebacker help, so keep an eye on him. He did not practice yesterday. He's also been a little banged up, so could he be a surprise cut? Roschon Johnson, Travis Homer, both guys banged up, so, I would almost feel like short-term IR is more likely for one or both of these guys, but maybe one of these guys is just cut. Who knows? Dominic Robinson, you would think he's probably safe with the Kpassanon cut. I actually went the other way on my roster projection, but again, with Kpassanon being a vested vet, that could be kind of you're playing the roster manipulation game, like, hey, he's not subject to waivers, so we can cut him without much risk, bring him back in a couple days if we need to, whereas Dom Rob, if they want to continue to invest into him, he would go onto waivers if they cut him, so that could be part of the game there, so we'll see if Robinson is safe. Jahdae Walker, seems to be some momentum to him making the roster, so I hope he does, but he'd be a surprise cut if he got released. Daniel Hardy, Devin Duvernay, again with Hardy, you're thin at edge, so that's a guy I'd keep. We know how good he is on special teams, and I mentioned Duvernay here only because he didn't play the last 2 preseason games. Is there a world where the Bears would keep Maurice Alexander over him? That would certainly be surprising, but at this point, we don't really know. So you guys predict one for me. Predict a surprise cut as I go through Twitter real quick. Make sure nothing new. I do not see anything new on the Bears at this point in time. So that's where we'll leave it for now. The Bears are down to 66 players as we are T-minus 4.5 hours from the deadline. Be sure to subscribe and join us. We will be live 2:30 or so. If something major happens before then, we'll either go live earlier or we'll drop another video. So turn on those notifications so you know when we publish content here on Bears Now. My name is Harrison Graham. We'll see you soon.